Hello friends, it's Cybill Sixpence. Today we are building something soft and sweet for our cherry blossom town, a berry and cherry gazebo tucked right by the water's edge. It's one of those quiet little builds that feels like it belongs in a storybook, perfect for quiet afternoons or a secret picnic, or just a place to pause and watch the fireflies. This tutorial will walk you through each block in detail step by step, so you can build it right along with me. So gather your blocks and come with me. Let's see how this goes. If you've been building along with me all along, then you know that I've been working on this brand new town. And I really do like to work with the terrain and not do a whole lot of terraforming. But even though I don't really like to do a whole lot of terraforming, some terraforming is necessary, and that's okay. Right here, I'm just making sure that my gazebo is going to have a walk path that leads up to the gazebo. And then we're going to redesign this little dip in my map so that it might become a pond. I felt like a pond right here would be ideal, but we definitely don't want it to look like the edge of a cliff for the house that we had built just above it. So some terraforming may be necessary. So really I'm just using some dirt blocks to kind of mold out how I want the pond to look. And I really don't want to change the shape of the pond more than necessary, so it stays looking as organic as possible. Now I am going to add more land underneath this gazebo. Here is our dimensions or a floor plan for the gazebo. And once I have that out, I know how much more additional land I'm going to need before we form out the rest of the pond. And once I have my floor space dedicated, I'm going to fill in the rest of the pond so that it complements the gazebo. Here I have used spruce slabs to outline the floor plan of my gazebo. Once I am satisfied with the general shape of the pond, I'm going to put that aside and not worry about it until the gazebo is done. In the meantime, we're going to be filling in the spaces with spruce planks. Using spruce slabs on the outside and spruce planks on the inside allows it to have a step up into the gazebo. On the diagonals all the way around the gazebo, I'm going to be using this pattern of stripped spruce logs and composts with acacia fencing as support for the roof. If you have a favorite stripped log that you would rather use, go ahead and use it. Make this your own. Moving on to the roof and using spruce slabs, I'm going to start the roof. If you want to use a color other than spruce, that's fine. You do you. I am going to make these very scalloped, and so I'm going to start with the top of the stripped spruce log and then place one slightly lower in the corners. And from there, I'm just going 1/2 level up each time I make a new row. I double that part up with another mimicked row, and then I return to the corners and start working through each side one level higher until I get to the very top. So each row should be 1/2 level higher than the one before it, and you continue that pattern until you get to the very top. If you're not interested in using spruce, you want to use a different color, that's perfectly fine. You can make this gazebo your own or match your town. As you know, the underside also needs some kind of ceiling, and I'm opting for cherry doors. And I'm using the upper portion of the layer below it, and you see I kind of messed up here, so I'm cleaning up my little mistake. That's all right. And then I'm going to outline the portion between the ceiling and the roof with blue terracotta. I can't stress the importance of adding lighting, and I just opened up one of these doors and pop in a lantern wherever I can get one in. I think I put about 5 here. And now on to the fun part, that's the decoration. I'm going to be using pots, clay pots, and some bushes and decorations. I think I use sweet berries around the edges. And on the sides that I'm not actually including an opening, I'm going to be putting like a little window box garden there. So I actually only have like 2 entrances into the gazebo and 2 of the entrances are being blocked by acacia fencing so that there is only an in out for 2 different ways, and the other 2 is just a look over. And of course, if you're just doing some trial and error of some other designs instead, you can always change it, just like I've done here. Sometimes you just look back and you're like, this isn't working for me. Let's try this. And just for intentional purposes, I use cherry trap doors on my garden boxes so that it intentionally looks like the roof was all built together. It's kind of one unit. With some birch stairs and some trapdoors, I'm creating a seating environment inside the gazebo, and of course you're going to throw in some more decorations with clay pots and pots and whatever flowers you're going to be choosing. I chose cherry mostly right here just to bring out the theme from the entire town so that it all looks like one unit. Isn't it lovely? It's so pretty. It literally looks like I could just take a walk into this gazebo, have a seat, and decompress. So now as I'm kind of just preparing my pond here, I found that I think I wanted to do a little bit more terraforming because I know I'm going to outline most of this, combining both cobble and mossy cobble, and just build that up with some slabs and some blocks and some stairs. I will be going back in with some walls as well, just to add that jagginess as we're going down deeper into the pond. So to add all of that textural reasons, just make sure that when you're placing your blocks, you're really mixing in the variance between the mossy and cobble stones. You can bring the stones into the pond as closely as you like. I know that when I put water down, this grassy center is going to turn into just dirt, and I wanted to put some seagrass down in there for just making the pond look alive. And finally, for that extra jagginess, I'm going to also use some cobblestone walls, various places around that I can find it will fit. Just continue until I am satisfied with the way that it looks. So we don't want this just to be a hole in our town, just fill it up with water, because I mean you might as well just have a swimming pool at that point. I'm going to be using some green glass panes for that skinny little stick that we have sticking out of the ground. My texture pack does have a variant that adds a little bit of a pattern to it. I love it to death. Mitsuno 16 Craft is the resource pack that I'm using, so if you wanted it to look exactly like mine, you're going to need to have that as your resource pack. Very tops of the glass panes, I have also placed a browned candle, so now it kind of looks like cattails in your pond. So the pond isn't quite finished yet just because I put water in it. We are going to find a way to add some lily pads, and I've got a unique idea for that. Pulling out some warped trapdoors, I'm going to find them out somehow floating in the water and just add some coral reefs to it. I'm using the pink coral brain fan and just placing those right on top of my warped trapdoors. My placement is somewhat random, so yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine, and just continue to create lilies until you are satisfied. Now with Minecraft's vanilla lily pad, you can go right on around and just start placing those leaves in any direction that you like so that they look appealing to you. From here, you're just going to be using some bone meal, and you're going to tap everywhere around in the bottom of the pond. That includes the cobblestones, because seagrass will also grow there. All you have to do is just tap it. I've decided to put some fish in here, and I spawned in some fish. You may have to, if you're staying in a survival world or you're working on a multiplayer where you can't just hop into creative mode to get what you need, you might have to just get some buckets and go and catch you some fish and put it in there. But all the same, I think it just adds life to our pond, so it's not just a body of water, it is its own little ecosystem. And let's not underestimate the power of just stepping back and kind of looking and admiring your work and just seeing if you're satisfied with the way that you've placed your blocks. You can make any changes that you want. Make this your own. And there it is, our Berry and Cherry Gazebo, all tucked in by the pond. It's quite a little detail, but I think it adds so much heart to the town we're growing together. If you've seen the beach house and the food court or the library, this one ties them all together. If you're building along, I'd love to see how yours turns out. And if you're new here, there's a whole town waiting for you. Stay cozy, stay curious, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!